Imagine turning your backyard into a rental unit that helps pay for your mortgage or helps house a family member. And this is all without breaking the bank. In Denver, it's more possible than ever to build an ADU in your backyard thanks to this unique program, and I'm about to talk about it here in this video. Let's get right into it. Let's talk about ADUs first. There are many reasons why having an ADU in the Denver area is advantageous. And for those of you who don't know, ADU or accessory dwelling unit is something that you have in the backyard or attached to the house even that can help house some more people. And it's all because of the low inventory and high demand that is here in the Denver area. But before we go into the Denver specifics, let's talk a little bit about California because they implemented a lot of programs helping build ADUs within California. ADU construction increased 20-fold ever since 2016 all the way up to 2023, and nowadays in 2024, 1 of 5 construction permits are related to building ADUs in California. And are Californians angry that this is happening? Absolutely not. In a certain case study regarding ADUs and the overall sentiment of it, 66% of people are open to the option of having ADUs in their backyard, and even 87% of people are open to having their neighbors build an ADU just within their community. In fact, I'm looking to convert the garage for my rental unit over in San Diego into another unit, an ADU, so that it's going from a duplex into a triplex. Now that's all about California. What does Colorado think? Well, as of last year in 2024, HB 1152 just got passed, and a lot is happening with the ADU community and industry. HB 1152 drastically decreased the amount of restrictions required to build an ADU on your single-family zoned lot. This is happening all around Colorado, but more specifically in Denver and a lot of the metropolitan communities. And Governor Polis and state legislatures are citing 78% of Coloradans actually are in favor of these ADUs being built. In this new legislation, HB 1152, basically what it says is if there is room for an ADU in your backyard, you can build an ADU. In fact, they're going so far as to say that you don't need to have a dedicated parking spot or dedicated garage for that ADU in the back. So it saves thousands of dollars and it decreases the amount of restrictions for people to need to have, let's say, a certain parking spot. You don't need to have an extended driveway or anything like that for the ADU in the backyard. What's another huge benefit, especially for those investors in the Denver area, you don't need to live in the property in order for you to have an ADU constructed. A lot of the times and previous to HB 1152, it needed to be your primary residence, but nowadays, not so much. And another big thing is that municipalities can't be more restrictive on that ADU, let's say requiring certain types of materials or certain type of landscaping that is more restrictive than the actual primary residence on that plot of land. Okay, maybe you're not fully convinced that ADUs are the savior for housing inventory here in the Denver area, but what if I made this a little bit more personal? You can build an ADU for your aging parents. I mean, you don't want to be too far away from them and you don't want to send them out to a nursing home where they're with a bunch of strangers. You want them to be somewhat close and also independent, but without cramping your style in your primary residence, right? Or let's say you have adult kids and they're starting to have kids as well. I mean, you can have them not too far away, just walkable distance, and they can come over for dinner, hang out, and you can be close to your grandchildren at the same time. Or let's say your niece has a disability and they just need a caretaker all the time to help take care of them. And without them needing to go to a certain facility, you can have a detached ADU in the backyard so that you can be with them constantly. Also, did you know that I made a relocation guide that will save so much time for you just deciding on where to live, and also consider the places to check out if you were to go hang out here in the Denver area? And it's 100% free. It's all right here. One of the QR scanners will be like right here, and completely free. Also, if you want a more in-depth sort of look at this relocation guide, if you want some more personal insight from myself, just go hit me up. All my contact information is down below. But outside of that, the relocation guide will get you started in a really good way. And you could give all of these people a reasonable amount of rent. And that's the beauty of having these ADUs in the backyard, where you could take advantage of like, hey, I don't need to set rent at market rent. I love these people. I want to make sure that they're living a good life. I can decrease rent to however much I want it to be. And lastly, and this is my favorite reason for having an ADU, you can have renters stay in the accessory dwelling units. And that way your mortgage is no longer, let's say, $4,000. It is now $2,500 or $2,000, cutting out thousands of dollars per month that you're having to spend on that mortgage payment. That's great and all, right? Let's say you wanted to house your grandparents, your adult children, or if you wanted to make some extra money on the side so your mortgage is not as crazy. How do we make this happen? So first things first, you need to own a property. Second, you need to have enough space in the backyard to build an ADU. And third, you need to be a resident of a neighborhood within the city and county of Denver to take full advantage of this unique program. Real quick, just to understand who's watching this, have you built an ADU already on your property, or have you thought about it, or have some strong feelings towards or against it? Let me know in the comments below, because I am curious genuinely to see what this whole progress of having less restrictions on ADUs are like for those Denverites that have built it or are thinking about it. Let me know, I am genuinely curious. And this program is called the West Denver Single Family Plus ADU program, otherwise known as the pilot program. I know it says West Denver Single Family ADU program, but you do not need to live on the west side of Denver. As long as you're living within the city and county of Denver, you could take advantage of this program. So this is an initiative on the Denver Housing Authority, and they want to make housing more affordable. And with that, they want to incentivize people that already own properties to build ADUs in the backyard that have reasonable rent. There is a ton of cost savings with this program if you wanted to build an ADU and go through them, but there is even more cost savings if you are income qualified. So the ultimate goal for the WDSF program, or the pilot program, is to stabilize homeowners to minimize involuntary displacement, provide wealth building opportunity, and create new long-term affordable units. There is a point that I want to talk about with point number 2 of building a wealth building opportunity, and that's in regards to how much the ADU costs and how much the property is going to be by the time you decide to sell it. So I mentioned this in a previous video, and oftentimes when I talk to people about ADUs is that if you were to put down, let's say like $150,000 on an ADU construction, you're not going to get that same $150,000 in that property value if you decide to sell it. But the real wealth is the cash flowing asset that it becomes. For example, like having the rents go up over time, and let's say your loan gets paid off for the ADU, that's a lot of cash flow coming in just from that ADU construction. Or the other benefit, like I mentioned earlier, in regards to housing your elderly parents, your adult children, or your disabled family members, all of that is a huge asset for your local community. So how do you become qualified for this pilot program? Well, you need to be a homeowner that is within ADU zoning. And as of November 19th of 2024, all homes that are single family zoned in the city and county of Denver allow ADUs. So that's a huge improvement already, and a lot of people qualify already. The second thing you need to do to participate in this is to choose one of 7 floor plans and designs for your ADU. And that comes in the form of a studio, a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and a 3-bedroom ADU. Based on this PowerPoint that I saw regarding the pilot program, it looks like the initial out-of-pocket expenses were only $1,500 on average. And why is it so low? Usually there's design fees, architect fees, and just making sure that this is feasible, like the building of the ADU is feasible. But thanks to choosing a certain design and going through that program, the initial out-of-pocket costs are so low compared to if you didn't go through the program. So going into one of the design layouts, let's go check them out. I mean, we gotta make sure that it actually looks good in our backyard, right? So this is how they keep the costs low. Check out this 1-bedroom layout. It's definitely not a bad situation. You have your own washer dryer, the exterior looks nice, your own kitchen, and everything you need for independent living. And I also found out that there are two different types of 2-bedroom layouts. Basically, I think there was a 550 square foot one and also an enlarged 2-bedroom where you get a larger living area, and that's about 860 square feet. And just as a reminder, those 7 layouts include the studio, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 2-bedroom enlarged, and a 3-bedroom. And then there's probably some variation of those bedrooms if you wanted to go through all 7 of those different designs. By the way, y'all, as much as I love making these videos for you, there's one thing I love more, and it's helping you get the right place in the Denver area. So, whether it's relocating here, moving to a different spot in Denver, or just hearing my opinion on certain neighborhoods, just put it in the comments below. Hit me up. All my contact information is in the description below. I love to hear from you. So this is great and all, I mean, especially with cost savings and all that good stuff, but what's the catch here? What do you need to actually do to qualify for this? So for each ADU, rent must remain under 80% of the annual max rent. And the max rent is for the following. For a studio, it's $1,826 per month, so 80% of that would be $1,460 per month. Going into a 1-bedroom max rent is about $1,900 per month, a 2-bedroom is $2,350 per month, and for a 3-bedroom, it's $2,700 per month. So you would need to take 80% of that and have that be the lease agreements or how much you would charge the renter for that ADU. And with the building of this ADU, you need to agree that you will either house a family member or house a long-term rental. So no short-term rentals are allowed. So no Airbnbs or Verbos if they're staying for less than 29 days out of the month. And a couple of other stipulations here. You need to maintain rent at 80% AMI or area median income. And either the homeowner or the renter initially has to qualify for that 80% AMI. So let's say you make 100% of that AMI, the area median income, the renter needs to make less than 80% of the AMI. You also need to provide annual reporting on the use of the ADU, rents, and insurance, and it has to remain compliant if the property is sold to family. So many individuals fit this bill, right? But how do you actually qualify? Well, you need to submit an application. So whether you make at AMI, above or below AMI or area median income, I'd say this is still a pretty sweet program for you to get started with having an ADU, and even having 2 units on your property is so clutch for your future investors out there. And because this is a pilot program, there's a lot of funding coming in, and a lot of the state legislature is helping out the cause. And if I've learned anything from being over in California for the majority of my life and coming here in 2020, I saw that a lot of these like first-time home ownership programs and a lot of ADU programs, they get depleted as far as their funding goes as soon as possible. So I would assume that a lot of the early adopters could take full advantage of how much they can get from this program. So what do you think? Do you think this is a pretty sweet program, especially if you're a homeowner already? I mean, you can get some extra income on it. I mean, with only spending $1,500 out of pocket just to get the design ready, to get the construction ready, I'd say that's a pretty affordable option just to have another unit on your property. If you're finding a lot of value out of this, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell. It helps me immensely for any future videos. And if you hit the notification bell, you don't miss any videos coming out from this channel, and you will be well informed on the Denver real estate area. So looking forward to it. Make sure you like and subscribe. So that about wraps it up. Let me know if you have any questions on the WDSF or pilot program, especially with building an ADU, or if you already have experience or have built an ADU, let me know in the comments below if you've gone through all that whole process, because I want to hear your experience. So with all that being said, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next week.